Third Eye Visions, and I will be talking to y'all after I play my intro. And we have a very interesting guest, so I hope y'all stay tuned, and we're gonna get it going.
All right.
Oh yes, welcome you all to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind on a Sunday afternoon. Well, I am excited to be here, y'all. The music that you hear in the background has been provided by a young man by the name of King OJ Sexton. If y'all want some music, if y'all want some music in the background, if y'all need any type of music, y'all can definitely check my man out. So, again, thank you for joining me. Uh, we have a very interesting show. Let me get everything straight right quick. Okay. Welcome to the show. I'm trying to wait till everybody come in. My name is Anthony Parker. Of course, you know who I am. And our guest will be speaking about her book, which is entitled Exploiting Bondages, A Battle for the Soul. Very interesting book. And I can't wait to talk with her. She's on the other side. You probably can see her right now. But let me get into my interlude, which is welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. And that's what we're going to do today, stimulate your mind. Today's topic, I will be speaking, as I mentioned, with an author of the book, Exploiting Bondages, A Battle for the Soul. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with, and I hope I don't murder her last name, Deborah. You say it. How do you say? How do you say your last name?
Shelty L.
Shelty L. Shell. Look how
Shelty.
proper.
Shelty
Look
L.
Look how proper
Mm-hmm.
Shelty L. Okay. Currently living in Israel, and along with discussing the
Hey,
book,
you do
she.
a pretty good job.
Oh, really? I do. Thank you. Well, along with talking with Deborah Shelty L, she will be speaking on her experiences she has both living in the United States and now in a different country, experiencing different cultures and things like that. But before we do all that, please continue to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, share, and comment. And for my people who are going to be viewing this later, what's happening? So without further delay, because that's what I'm known to do from time to time, I would like to welcome Deborah to the show. What's up, girl? How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Anthony, how are you?
I'm
I'm
doing fine.
okay. Thank you
I
for
am doing
having me,
fine. Doing
and
fine.
thank you
Doing.
for the nice intro.
You're welcome. I worked on it every bit of 5 minutes, so it kind of sounded like that because it was probably a little choppy, but nevertheless, I got it. I got through it. Right? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
So with that being said, Deborah,
I
tell
hear you.
tell tell
There's
us
a
a little
little
bit of.
delay.
Okay, well, there's a little delay, but we'll work through that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, because we were in Israel party. That's why there's a delay. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in the U.S. I'm originally Washingtonian, District of Columbia. My family is there as well. And I moved to Israel about maybe 12 years ago, and I've been here since.
Okay, now how did you find me? How did you find Third Eye Visions?
Well, as a person living with visual impairment, and I'm legally blind, so I was just looking for support groups and information on the website and YouTube and things like that, and just trying to connect with others that are pretty much like me, um, of African descent, living with a form of visual impairment, and so on and so forth. And I just so happened to come across your channel, and I was very impressed with the guests that you have. I think his name is Mr. Ed and Alita.
Alita.
Do you have her name correct?
Alita.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Um, yes, Alita. And other guests that you've had, I was very impressed. And also your moderation and your hosting is, I was so inspired by your content, your guest selection, your panel. So I just decided to maybe comment on some things, and that's how I came across your channel.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you and whatnot. You really make my day out. Just speaking with you off camera, I really enjoy it. What form of I don't know if you discussed it, because I was doing a lot of other things. Visual impairment do you have?
I have what they call myopia, macular maculopathy. It is a form of macular degeneration, and this form of macular degeneration is usually in families, it's hereditary, and you're born with it. And the telltale signs, if you will, is a long eye, like in the shape, you're born with an eye, your eyeball is in the shape of an egg, or
Mm.
some people say a rugby ball. Um, so that's how you would tell. And what happens is as you grow and as your eye grows, um, the back of your eye begins to stretch, and everything inside the retina, the macular, and everything is affected.
Okay. And I mean, of course, you've been able to deal with it, to the best of your ability, because you haven't allowed it to stop you from doing what you need to do, right?
Oh, wow. Um, that was one of the reasons why I wrote my book, just to try to get through the difficulties and the difficult part of it. I mean, I can share some stories with you, um, just being a child with this type of disease, wearing thick glasses and everything like that. So you kind of go through some things, and you have to pretty much be strong mentally. And but once you get through it, oh my goodness, it's the sky's the limit.
Okay. Well, I'm very much excited to talk to you about those particular things as well as your book. And for those individuals who are just joining us, we are speaking with Debbie. She is the author of a book entitled Exploiting Bondages, A Battle for the Soul. Briefly, tell us what is it like as far as a visually impaired person in your country, as far as accommodations and things like that?
Oh, accommodation and accessibility. Um, it's amazing. Actually, Israel is one of the top countries, especially in the Middle East, that is number one in technology, health, and inventions, innovation. And I've had a privilege even to um, demonstrate devices for companies, large companies, even there in the States. So it's been a wonderful time here being in the Black community. And I'm just, amazed at the amount of community that's here, the assistance. I am an advocate for mobility and orientation, and white cane use. And because of their programs and the assistance that I've received here, I have a guide dog. Something I'm not sure I've ever intended on using. It never came to mind, but the encouragement that I've received, and also from members of the community, other blind persons, I was just really amazed at the support I've received here in Israel.
That's good to know because I've spoken with a lot of other people or people in other countries, and they said that the accommodations were not as good and things like that. So it's good to know that. What else have you dabbled or delved into as far as hobbies and things like that uh, prior to becoming an author?
Um, I my hobby is DNA, genealogy, and that's like family research.
Mhm.
And while in DNA, many people are involved with that. I've found many cousins and relatives, and spoken with others who are really into it on all levels, even the scientific level. People are so smart. I mean, it's incredible. But I've really enjoyed my time. I started DNA genealogy around 2003 when the science was very new. And during that time, you're only testing like the female side of your family and the male side of the family. Other sciences that came later that would allow you to connect with other cousins, that came about some years later. Um, After that, I began to learn more about and participate in the DNA communities. My main focus was trying to locate the source my eye disease because I'm also an adoptee. So my main motivation was to find the source of the eye disease that I inherited.
And were you successful in that?
Um, yes, but I can't really delve into the specifics of it right now because that's going to be the sequel to my book.
Okay. Well, speaking of your book, let's talk about um, the book, which is entitled again, "Exploiting Bondages: A Battle for My Soul." Explain to us about the title and why you came up with that.
Hmm. Wow. Well, it's actually a book that was born, or I guess birthed, out of a lot of pain and disappointment and the fear of becoming blind or the fear of blindness, period. Um, I wanted to show in the book how it affects uh, the individual, in which you have stereotypes and the fear and the protection and even some of the dysfunction that can go along with um, a person with blindness or living with visual impairment.
And is that what you mean by the first part, which is exploiting bondages?
Yes, exploiting bondages is, I really delve into a situation uh, using my own experience and my family experience. Um, and I show how sometimes, because of family situations and dysfunction in families, they can actually, not only the family's dysfunction, but the family can also exploit other people in their in their dysfunction. Um, A lot of times you see this when government uh, money play, government benefits play an integral part of the family resources. I go into that and I show um, how it can really damage the life of a person with disability.
Okay. For those individuals who want you like me to delve more into it, to talk about, give us an uh, um, instance, or point out some instances in your book in terms of what you are referring to when you're talking about these particular bondages.
Okay. For example, there may be a young mother who may have some issues with um, substance abuse or alcoholism, and the mother is striving so hard to make things happen for her child. She's a single parent. Um, was also told by or persuaded by her friends that it would be best for her to be a single parent, but only later to find out that she has a disabled child. And at that point, you see a friend that is, or a so called friend, that is exploiting the bondage of this single parent, encouraging them to take part in a system that would keep her from going forward or progressing.
That's deep. What prompted you to basically focus on something which is very important, like this?
Um, I guess to be honest, I grew up in the projects, and there are a lot of situations that people with disabilities have to contend with. And unfortunately, they don't have a voice. It's nothing that they can do about their parents' situation. I tell my story from a child's perspective. The decisions that were made um, were not decisions based on my good, I guess you can say. It wasn't for my benefit. The it appears as though the decisions that were made for me were based on someone else's benefits or what someone else can get out of the situation or not out of the situation, or maybe just shame. You know, um, no, I don't want my child to go to a blind school. I don't want my child to be different, so to speak. But you don't know what child is going through. You don't know what children are actually doing to this child. I can I can remember instances where, you know, I wore really thick glasses, okay? And there was a girl and her sister would come around and knock my glasses off, you know, and I'm on the ground, they're feeling around, and they are laughing. They are laughing. I am being bullied as a very child. You knock my glasses off, I can't see. But these kids are laughing at me, being called names and so on and so forth. Would it have not been better if I was in a blind school with kids that were just like me.
Wow. That seems to be a great dispute these days in terms of whether children who have impairments should be placed in regular school or public school, and that's interesting because I was mainstream, which is what they were called, uh, what it was called back then. I had went to a school with sighted individuals at a young age, but man, I definitely understand and feel what you're coming from. So, with that being said, you did how much did that affect you in terms of you being bullied and you not going to the school that would actually give you some assistance and what have you and help you out?
Well, it's amazing because my family did not want to acknowledge my disability. My parents did not want to know or accept the fact that they adopted a blind child. So I had to go through life, with my head up and, positive thinking. My friend, I mean, not my friend, but my mother's friend, or sorry, auntie, I know I don't, if she sees this, I don't want her to be hurt by it. But, I had an aunt that, I called, my mother called her my aunt, because she was a dear friend of the family. But auntie, she became very afraid, with the thought of me losing my eyesight, and we were riding in the car one day and she just threw me out the car. She stopped the car and because they were talking about my eye situation, she stopped the car and she began to pray and pray. And next thing you know, I'm on a sidewalk and she's putting oil on me and in the name of Jesus and all kinds of stuff. She scared me to death. I mean, I was traumatized. I couldn't understand what was going on. She just yanked me out the car. I'm on the sidewalk and everybody is around. It's like, wow, But that's not the only thing. It's later when the disease began to progress in the time of my life when I'm just like, it's the prime of life. I want to do things. I want to go things. Usually this is about maybe 30s or 40s, and I have no skills. I have no braille skills. Then there's the psychological part of losing your sight, not having corrected lenses, not being able to correct the lenses. I mean, correct my sight at any point. I mean, it's just like, oh, being meditation and all these things I had to advocate for myself.
Wow. Wow. For those individuals just joining us, we're speaking again. Let me remind y'all with the author of the book Exploiting Bondages, A Battle for My Soul. Now, how much of this book, uh, I don't know if I asked the question, but how much of this book is your life experience in terms of percentage wise?
Oh, my dear, it's all of it. It's my memoir.
Wow. And battle for your for my soul, what exactly does that mean, in terms of the relationship between uh the exploitation and what you had gone through? What does that actually mean?
Hmm. Well, it means that at a point in time when when others have had so much control over your life, there has to come a time when you take control of your own life. And I think there's a term they call it. Actually, it's really resilience, but the psychological term is post traumatic growth. After going through a lot of traumatizing experiences, there comes a time when you have to take control of your life, your own life. And sometimes that means starting all over. If you were like
Okay.
at that moment of time when that decision was made, rather to send you to a blind school or to have you to wear contact lenses, hard contact lenses.
Wow. Okay. This is what I want you to do. I want you to stop right here, and I'm gonna bring you out the feed, and then I'm gonna bring you back. So don't do anything else because it's waving, and I want everybody to hear exactly what you're saying. So just take a second. I'm gonna remove you, then I'm gonna bring you back. Don't do nothing else. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're speaking with Debbie, trying to get the feed back up again. Um, the name of the book is Exploitation Bondages, a battle for my soul. Bring her back on, see if everything's right. Debbie, can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, I can.
Still bad feed. Maybe move? Can you move around like
Yes,
to
I can.
like?
Can
Okay.
you hear
Can you
me?
move around? Yes. Can you move around to like another area maybe? Or put because the feed is jumping on, and I want this is very
Okay, hold
important.
on.
So all right, again, get the feed together. The title of the book,
Okay.
uh, very interesting. Exploiting Bondages, a battle for the soul. Is speaking on how she had to go through a lot of traumatization, man, before she had to take control of her life, of her soul, and do what she needs to do. Because at a young age, her parents and people around her did not want to accept the fact that she was visually impaired. And I've heard that a lot from individuals that I've spoken with. Their parents not really, their people not really wanting to accept the fact that their kids or someone they love is visually impaired, and that creates a great deal of trauma over the years and what have you. And Debbie, who is in Israel right now, that's probably why the feed is so much of a delay. Is basically speaking on that. You ready? Hello, you ready? Ready? Okay.
Yes.
It's a little bit better.
Yes.
You were talking about taking control of your
Okay.
life after all this. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just saying that, when you are, when you have had those decisions made for you, and the experiences in life itself has pretty much caused, um, you know, damage or, trauma, there comes a point where you have to say, hey, I'm not going to allow this or these situations or these people in my life to just run me down until I'm nothing. When there are so much out there, so much support, just like you, Anthony. I mean, Anthony, you are out there, you're on YouTube, you're reaching out to people, inspiring them. Everyone of us in the blind community, we have skills, we have gifts, and these are things that we have to and say, when am I going to stop looking at someone else for my own existence? It's like looking in the mirror or trying to look in the mirror by looking at someone else. No, we can't do that. We have technology, we have we have really, really bright people who are blind and visually impaired who are doing marvelous things out there. And I'm
Yep.
just, I just regret that I never had an opportunity to meet such great people.
Wow. So as far as taking control of your, thank you for the compliment. As far as taking control of your life and moving forward, was that one of the reasons why you moved from the States to Israel to start all over again?
Definitely, definitely. After many, many tries, after many, many uh, attempts to change my life, even there in the States, and after finding out, my heritage and where I came from and where I come from, and my family members and cousins that I never knew, I had to make some decisions.
And it's been
And
great.
I found that I was not alone, and I didn't have to be alone.
Wow. So how is your life now in terms of after you've made that change? Because sometimes you have to make a change and make it better for yourself. So how is it now?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Especially if you are grew up in the projects. So um, I wanted something better for myself. I mean, I didn't want to be a product of my environment. I wanted to do something with my life. And that was from a young age. And something happened when I was in high school. And there was this young man. He came from Gallaudet University. And that's and he was lost. I was coming home from school, and other kids were laughing at him because he didn't know where he was going. And I just remember my heart went out to him. During that time, my vision was corrected. I had been wearing contact lenses, so I was familiar with, the fact that at one time I had people laughing at me. I had people bullying me. So, not being able to communicate with him, I just tried whatever I could to help him to understand. I wanted him to go home with me, and I was going to call his mother. Okay. And we walked together, and I brought him home to my mother. And my mother said, we'll call his mother. And we called his mother. His mother was worried. Okay. His
Mhm.
mother was worried. And when she finally arrived at our apartment, he he was happy, and he just hugged me, and he thanked me. And his mother, she had tears in her eyes. I will never forget. She said, "You know what?" She said, "I really thank you." And she just had these tears in her eyes. I had no idea. I had no clue how significant this situation was. And she said, "I will never forget you for this. I will never forget you." And she said, "Can I hug you?" And for me, as a teenager, I'm like, "Well, what's the big deal?"
Mhm.
But it made an impression on me. I didn't know what it meant then, but as I became older and I began to lose my sight, I understood this worried mother who has her son out there in the world, and he can't hear, and he's lost, and she can't contact him. Wow. It was just
Wow.
amazing.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you were able to, you know, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and make a change. And as I mentioned earlier, that you sometimes when people go through certain adversities or people basically putting them through certain changes, you have to decide for yourself, look, enough is enough. And with the fact that there's so much bullying going on, definitely I can just imagine for those who can't make a
Yes.
change, what they're going through. So definitely, I want what I'm gonna do. I want to continue this part two because you have a lot to say, and I want to make sure the feed is much better. But I'm gonna get you back on here and let you talk more about it. But in the meantime, tell everybody a little bit where they can find the book if they are interested in reading.
Okay.
Give them the name and all that good stuff while I set up and get ready for the outro.
All right. If you're interested, Exploiting Bondages. And you can find it on Amazon. Paperback. It is it's pretty raw. I have to give you a warning. Definitely raw. And pretty much not too edited because edited it. Because I did everything. I published and wrote it myself, so the editing wasn't. It was by a blind person, okay?
Okay.
But this time I'm going to do it more professional, and I hope that you will be able to enjoy it and uh, understand everything that was going on. Again, it's pretty raw, so I did send a warning to
Okay.
you.
All right. Well, let me translate because I like the feed. It's called "Exploiting Bondages." Battle for the Soul. She said it's pretty raw. It's on Amazon, y'all. If y'all want to get a hold of it, she's the publisher, she's the author, she's everything. And also, you say that there's going to be a sequel to the book as well.
Yes. Actually, did I send you a link? I can send you a link and you can put it on your in your box, in your chat box also.
All right. Well, I definitely would do that. And
Hello?
I want to I want to thank everybody for joining me. I didn't want to answer any questions, y'all. So it's like I wasn't being rude because it was very interesting. I want her to get her story out. We will do part two of this and continue with Debbie. She's from Israel, as I mentioned. She made a change. She has the book out, man, and it's very interesting, very raw, as she mentioned, very detailed about her life and what she has gone through. And I just wanted to give y'all just a little bit pieces of it. So with that being said, as the music starts to